Welcome back to Cecilia's Spot. Today we're going to be making a really fun toy for your little one, a little cube, and with their initials or their name on, depending on how many cubes you want to make. And I am going to make 4 cubes for the name CC. So what I have is 4 pieces cut out, 4 squares, and I did 6 by 6. So I have 4 squares in 6 different patterns for each side. And I tried to do different fun patterns that kind of would catch the attention, as well as different textures. This one's fleece, and some of them are a little softer than others, and they have different textures. And what I'm going to do today is we're going to make this square, and you can add all kinds of ribbons, buttons, all kinds of great things for your little one to kind of touch, feel, and play with it. So start by picking out 6 patterns. Now if you want some of them to be the same color, that's fine, but for me, I just kind of picked 6 random ones in all different colors to catch her attention. Alright, so 6 by 6 if you want the same size as the finished product here. And then cut out however many squares for however many cubes you want. So like I said, CC, I'm doing CE, so that's 4. So I have 4 of each one, and you'll need 6 for each side, okay? Alright, so go ahead and do that. Pick your colors and everything, and we'll meet back. Okay, so I freehanded my letters, and I actually used a different color. I freehanded them and cut them out for CC. And then now I'm just going to center them in each piece, and I'm going to sew them right on. So that's the first step. Okay, so pick whatever color or colors you want to use for your letters and sew them on. And like I said, I freehanded the letters myself. I kind of drew it on, and then I just cut it out and trimmed it the way I wanted. Alright, so go ahead and do that, and we'll come back. Okay, so here they are sewn on. Now I have all 6 pieces here, just like this. So this is the middle here. And then I lined up where the colors I want. And what I'm going to do is sew them all on. So what you're going to do is, just like any other sewing project, you're going to do fabric to fabric, okay? And you're going to sew right along the seam there. I'm going to do about a 3/8 inch seam, and then it'll fold out like that, and you'll want to iron it. Same thing with these. You want to do the same exact thing. You want to do this one, and then you'll fold this one over down on the bottom, and then you'll have them all sewn together properly at the end, okay? So go ahead and sew them. Start with this as the middle, and then do fabric to fabric and sew along the edges, okay? So as you can see, this is all sewn and turned the correct way here. So that's what you want, and then you're going to sew the rest as well. This one's not sewn yet, but I wanted to show you I'm doing a little bit different color pattern. You know, same colors overall, but just putting them in a different order. It's up to you what you want to do with yours. Okay, so go ahead and do the rest of your blocks this way. So you should all end up looking like this one sewn together. So here's all 4 finished. Okay, so you want them all to look like that. Okay, so now that everything is ready to kind of make our cube here, I cut out ribbons. I'm going to have little ribbons, and these are great. They're like little soft cotton balls that she can feel and get the texture of, and all different kinds of ribbons, sizes and shapes and colors. I'm going to put them on my block, okay, to stick out. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to, you can kind of choose wherever you want, but choose your ribbon, and then before you do anything else, what you're going to do, these I'm going to have kind of be like little loops that stick out. So I'm going to sew them right in, just like this on the edge, okay, and do it a couple times back and forth because, your little one's probably going to pull at it, or whoever you're giving it to. Like that. Just like that, you're going to sew it. That way when it's all sewn, you won't see where it's sewn, because you're going to eventually sew it, face fabric side to fabric side again, okay? So that's what you want to do, and for this it's going to be a little harder, but I think I'm just gonna sew like it to kind of stick out like that so she can kind of grab on and play with it. And then just place the ribbons wherever you like. I'll show you a picture when I'm finished with just this one block of what it's going to look like. But I have the 4 blocks, so I cut out 4 ribbons for each color. Okay, so you can see I added a lot of little extras to this block so that my little munchkin can pull and press and play with all the different shapes. So I added some buttons. Just make sure you sew them on real good so they don't get pulled off. And I used the biggest size possible just in case, you know, they decide to put it in their mouth. And then I sewed all these different ribbons of different sizes and textures. And this one's my favorite. She loves these little, you know, like cotton balls that are colored. They actually come in a really long string at the craft store, and I just cut them up to smaller strings. So you can see I pick like different edges and sizes and everything else and just sew it several times to make sure it's going to stay. So the next part is actually starting to sew your block all together. So what you want to do, of course, is sew all your right sides together. So to sew the side, we'll start sewing, you know, this side of the block so that these 2 pieces are up. Is you want them to face each other. So what you can actually do is just fold the whole thing over like that. Alright, so you'll match these 2 edges, and you can pin them if you like to make it straight, and then you're going to sew there, okay? And then you'll have, when you're done with that, these 2 will be kind of standing up like that. And then same thing, then you take this side after that and you're going to sew there, and you'll just keep on going down to get them all together until you have, you know, just one more side left to sew. So as you can see, I've sewn these sides together so far, and you just want to make sure, you know, when you're sewing the sides together, if you have a ribbon there, make sure it's facing inwards, okay? Because if you have it outwards, then it's the wrong way. It's not going to face out, okay? So this is what you have so far. So you want to just continue. So you're going to take this side and sew it down to here, and same with this side and sew it here, okay? Alright, so now you can see all the sides but one are sewn together. So just go through and make sure that, you know, it's sewn really well at all the corners, you know, that you don't have any holes anywhere before you do your last piece here. So you can see all the ribbons and everything are in the inside, which is what you want. So for this last piece, you're going to start sewing around. But what you want to do is you'll sew around, and you have to leave a spot about 2 inches open so that you can turn it right side out, just like with any other project. Okay, so you'll line the sides up just like you've been doing here. And you'll sew around, but you'll leave that 2-inch opening, so you'll need to remember to backstitch, okay? And then you'll turn your block right side out. Okay, welcome back. So you can see I have the block here sewn together. Now I left that opening on the top here so that we can turn it right side out. This opening may be a little small, but I think I'll be able to do it. So what you want to do is you want to turn it right side out first. So just pull it all through.
And then you can have,
Pencil, chopstick, whatever you want to use, crochet needle, and you're going to go ahead and you're going to poke the ends from the inside to make sure that all the corners are sticking out into a square so that you don't have, you know, the wrong shape here. And then what we're going to do is stuff it. Okay, so what I'm using is polyfill for mine. There's a lot of different types of stuffing or the styrofoam blocks that you can use. But I like the polyfill, and I'll tell you what, I'm actually going to do a little rattle inside too. Now you can just add a bell or, you know, anything in there that'll make a little noise if you like. Some people don't want that noise. You might have enough noise already in your house. I know what that's like with 2 dogs and a baby, but alright, I think we have most of the corners turned out. So here's the block so far, and you can see I've added ribbons and buttons and all kinds of good stuff for her to feel and touch and play with. And there's the E for CC I'm doing. Okay, so you have your little hole. You're going to stuff it. I'm going to start stuffing it with lovely polyfill here that I got, and I've been using this bag for quite a long time. I use it for my pillows as well that I make people, and I also have a video on that as well if you want to see it. Check it out. Whoops. Alright, so you start stuffing. Now actually what I did, I've been saving the tops of all those little food pouches, believe it or not. So I have a whole roll of them here, and my daughter loves to play with these by themselves, but you know, they have a little bit of a rough edges in the inside, but she likes to click them together and clean them. So I'm going to take a bunch of these, see how it works, but put them in a little Ziploc. I'm going to fill the outside with polyfill, and then I'm going to put this in the middle. Alright, so go ahead and stuff your little block, and then all you're going to do is do a little whip stitch or whatever stitch you actually prefer, if you have a preferred one like the invisible stitch, and you're going to stitch it together, and then you'll have your block done. So I've stuffed this block with the amount that I'd like, and you can see it still has a little bit of a sponge, and I put that little baggie in there with the tops of the little food pouches with some air, make sure it's shut. And here's the noise that it'll make. So a little bit of a rattle, but you can use bells or whatever you prefer in there as well. So here's the final product. I have 4 squares, and they all have different, well, they all have the same ribbons but in different spots, as well as these lovely pom-poms that she loves to pull at, and they're all different materials. I used felt for the letters, and there's also buttons on each one in different spots that she likes to pull at. So it's pretty neat. Just make sure you sew everything really well so that, you know, obviously the baby or infant or child isn't, you know, taking it and putting pieces in their mouth that fall out. Okay, so this has been another episode of Cecilia's Spot, where fun and creativity collide. For more awesome videos, stay tuned and check out the blog at www.ceciliasspot.com. Woo!